Welcome back, everyone. In this recording, we will look at one more command that Java gives to our command to manipulate how our loops are going to behave. So, to dive right in, let's create a new class, and we're going to call it continue intro. All right. As you have probably guessed, the command is called continue. We have never seen this command before. We have seen already break command and return command. Now we're going to look at continue command. Let's create a simple task, very simple task. I don't know if there is any real use of this task somewhere, but we'll give it a shot. Let's say, given any number, right? Write a method, or let's say develop a method that will divide this number to all numeric values from -5 to +5, both inclusive. So basically, we need to, given any number, we're going to be given a number. We will take this number and divide it by all numeric values from -5 to 5. So we'll divide by -5, -4, 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? From -5 till 5. Okay, let's code for it. Since we know our iteration starting and ending point, we're going to create int, we're going to call it div, standing for divider, is equal to -5, right? As long as divider is less than or equal to 5, increment the divider, and while you increment it, print out. Now we need to declare a number from the user. Just create int user input is equal to, our first value is going to be 15. So divide this number and print out the results to the console. So take the user input and divide it by div. Now, you probably have guessed that if we run this program, there is going to be a red exception here, right, at some point. If you have not guessed it yet, please pause the video, then come back. Now, since you did not pause the video, let's run and see what is going to happen. As we have said earlier, we got an exception, and it says here Java-lang arithmetic exception division by 0, because when we incremented -5 the first time, it became -4, second time -3, -2, -1, and 0, and at some point we divided by 0. So we know we can use a break statement, right? But if we break it, what will happen is our loop is going to stop, but our division values by +1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are not going to appear. So in cases like this, we have another marvelous Java command called continue. We're going to create a condition saying that if divider is equal to 0, continue. So unlike break and return statements, this command, this continue statement, does not break anything. It does not tell the compiler to run away from the block. It actually tells the compiler, just forget about everything that's going to come after it inside the loop, and then go to the next iteration of the loop, right? So what happens is, when our loop iteration gets to the point where divider is equal to 0, right, we get into the if condition again. We ask ourselves, is divider equal to 0? If the answer is yes, we just come in and we say continue. And let's actually create a message saying that can't divide by 0, therefore passing it, skipping it. Okay, now this time we run this program, look what happens. We took 15, divided by -5, we got -3. Divided by -4, we still got -3. Divided by -3, we got -5. Divided by -2, we got -7. Divided by -1, we got -15. Divide by 0, we didn't do it. Not actually, this is a good thing. We didn't divide by 0. What we did instead is since this condition became true, we came into this if block. Inside this if block, we found out a print statement and we did print it out. And let's convert it into an error statement. So the user knows that, hey, there was an error somewhere down the road, and we caught it and we took care of it. And then we said continue. Continue means stop everything else at this case, in this loop, after this case, after this instance, and then continue to the next iteration. So divider was equal to 0, right? Continue to the next iteration. Inside the next iteration, we immediately increment the divider by 1. So it is now 1, and then is 1 less than or equal to 5? Yes, it is. 15 divided by 1 is 15. 15 divided by 2 is 7, etc., etc., etc. This is what simply the continue statement does. If you want to add, if you have multiple conditions, let's say if divider is equal to 5, continue. You can say if divider is equal to 3, continue. So you don't want to divide by 3 and 5, for example, right? In this case, we're not going to see 3 divisions here on each type. Can't divide by 0, skipping. -3, so we did not divide by 3. So you see, we don't get 5. We did not divide by 3. We did not divide by 5 either. And basically, we did not get that 3. This 3 coming here is coming from division by 4. So, or let's do this. If divider is equal to 5 or divider is equal to 4. So we're not going to see this 3 coming up. Rerun this method. That's it. So this is what continue statement does. Continue statement actually simply takes, as soon as it gets executed, takes the loop to the next iteration. It does not break anything. It just forces the instantiation, forces the execution of next iteration as soon as it's seen. Now, all the rules that apply to break statement apply to continue statement as well. For an example, this is going to be a collage video, so we will not look into, we will not create separate videos for continue statement. Let's do this. Let's think about a case where we have inner loop, right? Let's say the number is not given by a user. We have an outer loop for int, let's do it this way, dividend is equal to, let's say 1, or actually let's give it a higher number, 15, right? As long as dividend is less than 35, increment dividend every time, not by 1, but plus equal to 5. So we're going to increment it by 5. And since this is going to be our outer loop, we're just going to embrace the inner loop by our curly braces. And the complaint here is because of the user input. Now, in this case, we're not going to divide the user input. We're going to divide the dividend by divider. And we're going to print out what the output of that is. So this inner loop's dividend, or I don't know, divisible, I don't know how it's called, but we're going to call it dividend, is going to be divided by divider, and we can right click on it, right click on the variable name, click on refactor, rename, and we're going to call it divider. Enter. Right now we have dividend and divider. So this dividend is going to come from outer loop. It's going to be 15 the first time, the outer loops in the first iteration of outer loop, 20 the next time, 25 the third time, 30 the fourth time, and fifth time is when it's going to become 35. It's just going to stop looping because we got to the end of the iteration. And remember, we are updating it by 5, not by 1. And we're still going to get it divided by all the numbers from -5 till 5. we still have our continue statement, and in this example we will see how the continue statement just is executed and applies for the inner loop only. It's going to continue the inner loop only, right? So run this code, can't divide by 0, we skipped all of those, and we have, you see, all those divisions stated here. Now to make this readable, let's, instead of doing print line, instead of doing print line, yes, let's do print statement and concatenate it by a space to see like one outer loop value, one dividend value divided to all the values of a divider on a single line. And we don't forget to add a empty new line so that we can see every other line of division, every other iteration of the outer loop on a new line. So run this code. Now we have can't divide by zeros, all skipped, and then we have all the divisions. That's it. So this is a demonstration of how continue behaves inside an inner loop. If for any reason we have continue outside the inside the outer loop, that will apply the same way. Now let's do this. Since we have already seen how we can label our loops, we will do it here as well. In this case, we're going to say if the divider is equal to 0, just continue the outer loop. Move on to the next iteration of the outer loop. In that case, what will happen is half of these, so all the positive divisions are not going to take place, because this 0 is going to become true only when divider is iterated, is incremented all the way from -5 to 0, right? So we're going to have all these negative divisions, but when we get to the division of 0, and then when we want to move on to the next line, right, we will not get to see them. And let's actually do this. Since errors print out first, we're just going to do it print system out, not system error, to see if the flow is correct. Run. This is what you got. You see, every time we got to the point where our inner loops value became 0, we did not break the inner, we did not continue the inner loop. We actually continued the outer loop, which meant we forgot everything in here. We did not do this division. We moved on to printing an empty line and then moving on and incrementing our dividend by 5. If you want to do continue inner, run this code, it will be in the middle. You see, we divided by negative values. We said you can't divide by 0. Then we divide by positive values, right? Again, the same here, then positive values, same here. So this is how you can manage, control, and manipulate the flow of your loops. This video is going to be the final video on this topic. As you could see, we experimented in certain things. We came out with different outputs. Do experiment, do practice, and just be creative. Be curious. See what happens if you take the continue from here, and see what happens if you can call the continue from outside, right? Can you create an if statement here and put a continue inside, which is going to be part of an outer loop, right? And then from this if statement, ask to continue the inner loop. So basically what I'm asking you to try to do is, being in the outer loop, can you start up the inner loop from inside the outer loop after the inner loop has executed? Try all these out, have fun. Coding is fun, it needs to be fun, and see what happens. There are great exercises out there that we're sharing with you in our content materials. Please explore and go above and beyond for the fun of it. All right. Thank you again for your time. We will see you in our next major topic. And till then, take care.